to 1-5 that we're going to talk about. And that is the topic of perpendicular lines. So we're just going to add this on to 1-5. Talk just a little bit about perpendicular lines. Okay, and the definition that we are going to write is this. They are lines that form right angles. So we talked about the right angles before, that little box in there. Right angles are 90 degrees. If you have a couple things that make a right angle, it's complementary. We've got lots of different names for basically the same idea. And here's another one. If you have two lines that intersect and they make a right angle, they'll be perpendicular. Now, we are going to be using that word perpendicular a lot, so what might be helpful is to know the symbol that you can use in place of writing that word all the time. And it is an upside down T. When you see that symbol, it means perpendicular. And in your notes, you can just use that symbol instead of writing perpendicular out all the time. Upside down T. And doesn't it kind of look like there are right angles on either side of that line? That's why they did that. Bless you. We're going to talk about 4 facts about perpendicular lines that are going to help us do some math today. The first key fact is this. Perpendicular lines intersect to form 4 right angles. We just said perpendicular lines form right angles, but if we have complete lines that go on forever and always, if you have 1 right angle, you're going to have 4 right angles. And let me just show you why. And this is going to be how it'll pop up and work sometimes. They're going to give you lines and put the right angle box in there. If you've got 1 right angle box, though, all of them are. So you can know for sure that these are all right angles as well. If you've got lines that intersect and one of them is a right angle, they all have to be right angles. And here's the reason why. How many degrees are in a straight line? 180. So if this line has 180 and 90 are here, how much does this have to be? 90. Same thing going up and down. There's a straight line. Has to add up to 180, 90, and 90. These 2 angles we learned about yesterday. They're across from each other in an X. Do you remember what type of angles those are? Starts with a V from yesterday. Logan? Vertical. And what did we say mathematically about vertical angles? They're congruent. So if this is 90 degrees, this is 90 degrees. So a lot of times on like homework or worksheets or tests or anything like that, they might just put 1 right angle box in there, but you've got to know that there are more than 1 in the picture. Okay, so there's our first key fact. Our second key fact that we want to talk about, perpendicular lines intersect to form congruent adjacent angles. And this is saying the same thing, but getting some other vocab in there. So we can realize that we've got lots going on with perpendicular lines. Same picture. If we've got 1 right angle, they're all going to be congruent, and they're all going to be adjacent to each other. They're all side by side. So just kind of practicing that vocab that we were talking about yesterday. Adjacent angles are right beside each other. The third key fact that we're going to write down segments and rays can be perpendicular to lines or to other segments and rays. Segments and rays can be perpendicular to lines or to other segments and rays. And all this is saying is when you have things that are perpendicular and they form a right angle, it doesn't just have to be lines that go on forever and forever. It could be one ray is perpendicular to one line segment. We've got lots of different combinations that you could have that form a right angle. It doesn't just have to be stuck with being perpendicular lines. It could be perpendicular rays or anything like that. All right, last key fact. This we already know, but we're going to put it down officially in our notes. The right angle symbol in the figure indicates that the lines are perpendicular. And this just comes from a common mistake people make. They don't ever see the question or the directions saying that something's perpendicular. But if you have the right angle box, it's like automatically telling you these are also perpendicular. So they kind of go hand in hand. If something's a right angle, it's perpendicular. If something's perpendicular, it's a right angle. They mean the same thing. So once you see one of those, you're going to see the other. And that's all that statement in blue is saying. Any questions you can think of on those 4 key facts about perpendicular lines? Okay, then what we're going to do for the rest of class today is we're going to practice section 1.5. There's a lot of vocab in this. There's a lot of different types of angles. There's a lot of naming that we still need to practice. I would say we were only about at 80% accuracy on our quiz for naming, and we need to get better at that. So I am going to pass out a worksheet that practices not only naming, but it practices your vocab from yesterday. It's got a section on perpendicular. This is going to be our class assignment for today. You can work on this by yourself or with up to 2 people. So you can have a group of 1 or a group of 3. If you want to reconfigure yourselves, you can, but you need to be in a desk, or the first group who wants to go up to the table can get the table. But you need to be sitting down somewhere and not on the floor. Max of 3. And this will be what you work on today. While you work on this, I'll be around to answer questions, and I'm also going to pass back papers. And remember, don't throw those papers away, because they're part of your binder check. Okay? So I will pass this out. Once everyone gets it, we can move around. All right, go ahead, reconfigure yourselves.